Hello, my name is Dami. Today I'll be sharing 5 ways that you can deal with homesickness. I know it's not a fun topic, right? Before I dive into that, I'm going to share a little bit about my experience so far. So I moved from Boston to Toronto in August. You can learn more about that in my previous video. I lived in Massachusetts for 8 years of my life, and when I moved to Toronto, I assumed that I wouldn't struggle much with homesickness. This is also the 5th country, Canada is the 5th country that I'm also living in, and I did not anticipate that I would be struggling with homesickness. While I'm grateful for the opportunity of a new beginning, the reality was that I was starting my life all over in a new country, making new friends, building my career and network from scratch. It's easy to have acquaintances, but real friendships take time. Similarly, sitting behind a computer and applying for a job is not the same as having a network advocate for you in that company. You basically have to work twice as hard. When I first shared this story, I was amazed at the number of people that responded to me, commented or messaged me privately to just share their own stories and give me tips. So thank you to everyone who did that. So when you're homesick, some people will suggest that you should just expose yourself to a lot of things, go out with people, network and things like that. But that didn't work for me. I did that and it still didn't work. And I believe the reason why that happened was because if you really think about the definition of homesickness, it is a state of distress, and that could be sadness or depression that occurs due to being away from home. And that tells you that there is a mental health element to it, so you can just tell people to get over it. When people are depressed, they lose interest in things that would normally excite them. Another thing to consider is the different personality types. An extrovert is more likely to derive a lot of pleasure from being outside and around a lot of people. An introvert, not so much. I am an introvert, and I started off doing all the extroverted things. So I signed up for events way before I left Boston. I connected with my church family and I just explored the city. It was summer, it was great, and I was hoping that I would catch Kiefer Sutherland somewhere in Toronto. That didn't happen. However, I hadn't given myself time to really process what had happened, and I just continued with my routine like nothing changed. So when I did start getting homesick 2 months after I got here, I didn't want to be around people as much. I would sign up for events and just not show up because I didn't feel like being there. And of course, there is the social media aspect where people back home or wherever in the world expect you to post about the wonderful and exciting things that's happening in Toronto. And there are exciting things going on here, but the reality was that I needed time for myself to really process the change that had happened. Here are the 5 ways that you can overcome homesickness that has helped me so far. Number 1, disconnect. Social media can place this unrealistic expectation on people to present a perfect and happy life, and it also makes it difficult for you to really form real connections with people around you. So take a break from anything that brings you anxiety or prevents you from being present in your new environment. I went on an Instagram sabbatical for 6 months, and it was a great way for me to reassess and figure out where I was emotionally and mentally. Second point, expose. Once you're in a better place, start going out to events again, meet people, hang out with them, join new communities. That is the best way to meet people and actually understand the new culture that you're immersed in. 3 sites that are very helpful for finding information about events: Eventbrite, meetups, and Facebook. Third point, be intentional. Be intentional about your relationships. So regularly stay in touch with your family back home and your friends, and make sure that you keep them in the loop in what's going on in your life. Relationships take time, and having to rebuild that core circle of friends can be very frustrating. The reality is a lot of people are very content in their relationships, so it might take time for them to notice that you're struggling. In that case, even though it's annoying and very uncomfortable, you have to constantly make that effort and reach out and try to make a relationship form once you've identified your key people that you want to build with. Number 4, learn. Homesickness made me go through a phase of reevaluating my identity all over again. So who am I and how do I want to show up in the world? I'm not defined by my accomplishments. Plus, nobody knows me here anyways. It's a clean slate, so you have an opportunity to curate your own story all over again. So I read a lot of books. I love reading books, and I still do. And that helped me process a lot of things and just answer the questions that I was having. Also, keep talking to people in your current home, your old home, and even if it's a therapist, anything that helps you process, anything that helps you understand the cultural nuances of your new environment, and also to form valuable connections. Number 5, reflect. Constantly reflect on the information that you're taking in. It is a lot of information coming at you at once, and you need to get to a point whereby you can assess and know when to stop and practice self-love. Homesickness can affect anybody. There's no reason to feel ashamed about not figuring it out. Taking things one day at a time and being intentional about forming meaningful relationships has helped me so far. I hope this information has been helpful. I would love to hear from you about your experience and anything that's helping you deal with homesickness.